Let's just quickly pick up on the issues. Now, just before we took that break, Cliffy, you were saying the test still has to be done.
Correct, Devi. In all criminal trials, the state has to prove beyond reasonable doubt the guilt of Oscar Pistorius. In deciding whether to convict or acquit, the court must take all the evidence into account, even if the accused's version is improbable. And this is important. Even if Oscar's version is improbable, the court cannot convict unless it can find that it is so improbable that it cannot reasonably possibly be true.
We come back to that.
Yes, indeed. That's what it comes down to. Right, it's come full circle. The state, beyond reasonable doubt, even if his version is improbable, can she convict and say that it's so improbable that it cannot reasonably possibly be true? Although it's objectively seen, it's still a subjective approach.
But again, coming to you now, David, it doesn't matter what people said on Facebook and Twitter and what the opinions were and how many legal experts we had here and which international channel broadcast what.
I think that's exactly why you probably find most pundits are trying to avoid answering the question about what we think is going to happen. You know, we try and steer clear of, you know, one way, in some senses, putting our name out there and attaching ourselves to some sort of prediction that might go wrong. But secondly, we don't really know. I mean, as Cliffy said earlier, it really lies squarely in her hands. And she's the only one that's got, as well as the assessors, have got real access to the record, to all the evidence and everything, and the heads of argument. It's all there before them. So really, they're the only ones in position to actually make the decision, because the rest of us are just taking bits and pieces as we hear in court all day.
But let's just quickly look now at the state. Who were some of the stronger witnesses for you, people that stood out and perhaps would have a great impact in terms of what Judge Masipa is going to say today? Let's start with you quickly, Cliffy.
I'm probably going to put my foot in it, but I think the state's best witness was Oscar Pistorius himself. And I say that with the greatest of respect. He was his own worst enemy, particularly during his cross-examination. You remember his defense in simple, is very, very simple, putative self-defense. That was spelled out by his representative, Barry Roux. We didn't end up with putative self-defense. We've now gone to automatism. Barry Roux's of the opinion that a basis has been laid, but that was when Professor Durman testified. So right at the end, you know, it's varied, as Harry has said, from A to B. Good witnesses for the state. Professor Gert Simon, I think, was fantastic, honest, and Mangana. Those were my two. That's my pick. David?
Yeah, Mangana was definitely, for me, the star witness of the state as far as their own witness is concerned. And I agree with my learned colleague over here. Certainly, Oscar did himself no favours. Even if what he said about the gun going off by mistake, if it was just words rather than intention in terms of what he was trying to say. But you can't do what he says he did, which was trying to protect him and his loved one, without the intent to do that. It can't happen by mistake. And that's what he was getting confused with in court.
Okay, so did Barry have a choice here about whether to put Oscar on the stand or not? Was it a choice?
We've had the smoking gun. You had the body, the late Reaver. You had the shooter, Oscar. He had no choice. He had to put him in. There was absolutely no choice about it. You know, there was a lot of speculation. Is he going to ask for a discharge? He had no choice. He had to put Oscar in. And I've got no doubt that they consulted properly and that he was ready for it. But in the heat of the battle, in the heat of the moment, as Oscar, in his own words, I'm fighting for my life. He got a little bit too involved in his emotionally in his own defence.
But we've had this discussion before, in fact, with the two of you, of no matter how well you can prepare a witness, it can go very pear-shaped in a matter of seconds.
Well, you are debating, I use the term loosely, but you are debating with one of the best legal minds and most aggressive counsel in the country. So it's never going to be easy, no matter how prepared you are. But add to that is when you start changing your demeanour and you start blaming your attorneys if you can't answer, and you have a bad memory if you can't answer. These are things that lie squarely in Oscar's caseload, as it were. And even no matter how prepared you are, to start blaming your attorneys, to start not remembering things, can never be good for your defence.
Cliffy, yeah?
Barry's there representing Oscar Pistorius. He's not there fighting his battle. He's representing him. If Oscar dropped the baton, as it's been stated, there's nothing Barry can do about it. You're only as good as your client in the box.
Because you still have to live to fight another case.
Correct.
Your job goes on. It has to.
Correct.
So let's talk about this entire process now. Judgment alone. How long is this going to take? I love putting you guys in this situation. You have no idea. The thing I've really enjoyed the most is putting our experts really in that tight corner. In the box. In the box. How long?
Well, if Judge Masipa were to speak very quickly, It could possibly be finished by today, but 37 witnesses summarising and then analysing. I think by lunchtime we'll have a good idea. If she's at the state witness number 16, then it might drag on in tomorrow. It's as long as a piece of string, putting you on the spot. How long is a piece of string? Which is the top, which is the bottom. Generally, cases get finished in the same day. However, this isn't your ordinary case. 37 witnesses, and it's extremely complex.